everybody, thanks for checking in. Just making this quick introduction video to sort of explain what I'm doing here. For a bit of context, just so you know what's happening, and this does relate to why I'm doing this. It's currently June 9th, 2020. The nation is slowly coming out of quarantine, perhaps a bit too quickly though, in my opinion. I fear that we're headed for some kind of catastrophe as a result of this ending. But we'll see. You're further down the timeline than I am right now, so you'll know the accuracy of that dire prediction better than I can know right now. So that's happening. At the same time that that's happening, all over the country and the world, people are uniting against the long-standing oppression of people of color, and specifically Black people, by the police in the United States. And I want to join in that, adding my voice to the list of people who believe that Black Lives Matter, and that I hope that this global movement can result in more justice, more peace, more love, more compassion, more empathy, but first, justice. In that context, I'm here in the Pacific Northwest. I was here for the final year of graduate school. My wife and I came here, and my whole life I've been fed a narrative in my family that we are not musical people, that we can't carry a tune, we don't have musical skill. It's somehow biologically or genetically, we're not wired for music, which I just believed. I was told it my whole life, and I would believe it. And enough people told me that was hogwash that I started to think maybe it's not true. But it was really hard to undo that belief. So when my wife and I moved here to the Pacific Northwest for this 1 year work that I was going to do, I decided to try to challenge the belief. I signed up for guitar lessons. I played a little guitar, 3-chord stuff back in college 30 years ago. But nothing really. And more frightening for me, I also signed up for voice lessons, which is very scary. So I spent about 7 months going to voice and guitar lessons, and I was terrified every time, but I was so encouraged by my 2 teachers, by Tim and Eve, who were so generous and patient and encouraging, that I learned to believe that I could get better, and I did get better. I want to be clear though, I didn't get good, and I'm not just being self-deprecating. It's because I didn't practice. It was hard to practice for me. I don't know, I wasn't committed. But I did get better, which was enough evidence to tell me that the narrative was wrong, that some people just aren't wired for music. I think we're all wired for music. I think it's part of being a human being. And so I went to lessons, and I got a little bit better. And then the quarantine hit, and I've spent a lot more time inside and in isolation with me and my wife, and practicing more, but not a ton more. And then a few weeks ago, I was on a walk. One of the few things you can do in a pandemic is go for walks by yourself. And I was looking at the Salish Sea, the Puget Sound, and listening to music. And I just decided I wanted more music in my life. I wanted music to be a part of who I was. And so I started practicing a little more. And for graduation, I graduated a few weeks ago, I bought myself a guitar, this guitar right here. It's a Taylor. I love it so far. Sounds great, and it's fun and easy to play. And I practice more. But just in the last couple of days, I decided to dedicate 1,000 hours of practice before my 50th birthday, which is just over a year from now, so 54 weeks from now. So 1,000 hours, 54 weeks, it's about 2.5 hours a day. And I want to see if I can really get better. And I'm doing this because I want to document my own progress, but I also know that there's a lot of people out there who have the same broken belief system that music is not for them, but they want it to be for them. And so there's tons of music out on the internet, and tons of guitar lessons, and tons of stuff by people who already know what they're doing. But this is from somebody who barely knows what they're doing. And I want to be a model for progress and a model for abandoning broken narratives about what we're able to do. So stick with me if you want. I'll be updating regularly on my progress. I'll share my practice plans and what I'm learning and what resources I found that help. And let's just create more music, more art, more love, more empathy, more compassion, all in the service of creating a little bit more justice in the world. All right, peace, y'all. See you on the next side.